drainage too.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Aaron Williams. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Thursday that finds, well, the Winter Olympics beginning to come to an end. But boy, we had some drama earlier today in hockey on the women's side with the United States and Canada. We got the semifinals of hockey tomorrow, where Canada and the United States both will be looking to win to force a gold medal game between the two nations. U.S. men's hockey has not won a gold medal since the Miracle on Ice back in 1980. We have a mock bracketology that was done by the committee that was released earlier this evening. They got together via Zoom and kind of seeded all the teams today, how they see it as of now, and it gives you a good idea of maybe how they might see it in a couple of weeks on Selection Sunday. So I will let you know where Florida is in that. Boy, speaking of college basketball, maybe the game of the year last night between Alabama and Arkansas. The Crimson Tide win the game in, what was that? Double overtime, almost going to triple overtime. Absolutely wild, that situation, as Alabama won it 117-115 in a game that helped Florida. As a matter of fact, the Gators, with that Arkansas loss, now have a 2-game lead in the Southeastern Conference for the regular season title with just 5 games remaining here in the regular season. And 1 week from today, they will be on the field for on-field workouts in Indianapolis at the Scouting Combine. Of course, a lot of work will be done, press conferences, interviews, and such early next week, but they will be on the field at the end of next week in the Scouting Combine, and we are now 18. That's 18 days away from NFL free agency, which does kick off on Monday, March the 9th. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, Gordon McGuinness of PFF, Pro Football Focus. Always like to get Gordon on this time of year. He just released a 3-round mock draft of his own. We'll talk NFL draft with Gordon, but he's a PFF guy. He's a numbers guy. He's an analytics guy. And we'll talk about Liam Cohen and the Jaguars. We'll talk a little free agency, Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne, kind of a Jaguar offseason blueprint, if you will, with Gordon McGuinness of Pro Football Focus. Also coming up at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, Bill Bender of the Sporting News, a little bracketology. We'll spend some time on Florida Gator basketball individually, but we'll also talk about bracketology. Of course, that is Bill's duty this time of year with the Sporting News. He is their bracketology guy. And in fact, Bill, I believe, was one of the first guys nationally about a week or so ago to move Florida up to the 2 line, have them as a 2 seed nationally. So we'll talk to Bill about all that coming up towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Before we get to the big deal of the night, boy, I had a big deal at my house earlier today. Aaron, you have not been blessed with fatherhood yet. Maybe that's to come in the coming years. But you met Little Hack last week. He came in studio. You guys bonded. There were some high fives and some fist pounds involved. But Little Hack is a very emotional guy, right? I mean, he kind of lets it all hang out there from time to time. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. So we're playing soccer earlier today in the driveway. And in my neighborhood, there is a pond, I guess you would call it, across the street from my house. So we're kicking the ball back and forth with Little Hack's favorite soccer ball. I mean, this is his favorite soccer ball. Why it's his favorite soccer ball, I don't really know, but that's what he tells me. It's his favorite soccer ball. So, all right, I'll take him at his word. And Little Hack, at 6 years old, is starting to get a little stronger. He's starting to kick the ball a little farther, kick the ball a little harder. But Daddy normally is able to retrieve the ball before it goes into said pond. Until this afternoon. Little Hack kicked the ball, went over my head. I was proud of him for the kick, but we had a Category 5 meltdown in my driveway when that soccer ball went into that pond.
Oh, no.
I had a conversation with the powers that be from up above. I said, oh, please let the current bring that back to the banks. Please let that ball come back here. If that ball would have stayed in the middle of that pond, I don't know. He was wanting me to go get a boat from Home Depot, or he was thinking of anything. Get in there and get it. I said, dude, if there was a gold brick in there, I'd probably go swimming for it. I'm not going swimming in that pond on an 80-degree day, not knowing what's in there for like a $10 soccer ball. That's not happening. He said, well, if it was my son, I would go and get it for him. And so he was laying it on thick at this point. Thankfully, thank you, the wind drove the ball back towards me. It was within a couple of feet, so I extended the rake that I got out of the garage and was able to retrieve that $10 soccer ball. And now all is right with the world. Any parent can relate. I don't know why that soccer ball meant so much to him, but I will tell you this. If that thing would have stayed in that pond, it would have been a bad night. Bad night at the Hacker household. Thankfully, I avoided a major disaster. He got the ball, the Category 5 meltdown went away, and all is right with the world. And really, since that moment, which was at about 6 o'clock, about 2 hours ago, it's really all been downhill since then. That was the epitome of the day. The day was going to go one way or the other based on the direction of said soccer ball. But because I got it back, that was an exhaling moment. And now I'm happy to be with you on a Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Aaron Williams, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal? No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
I mean, really, that was the big deal of the night if you want to get down to brass tacks, getting that soccer ball back. But there are other big deals of the night. I've been doing this all week when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've talked about quarterbacks. We've talked about running backs. We've talked about wide receivers. And we've talked about tight ends heading into the offseason. Now let's focus on the big uglies, the lines of scrimmage on both the offensive line and the defensive line. All right, the Jaguar O-line, much maligned at times this year. There were some very bad moments at times. Go back to Houston on the road. Seattle wasn't great here. The Rams in London was not great. The offensive line had their fair share of struggles. But in that same breath, you can point out a lot of good things that happened with the offensive line. And maybe above all, the best thing that happened to the offensive line in 2025 was every time injuries struck, and they did strike, every starter on the offensive line missed at least one game. From originally Walker Little, right, at left tackle, to Ezra Cleveland, to Robert Hainsey, to Patrick McCurry, to Anton Harrison. All the original 5 starting offensive linemen missed at least one game. But in those injuries, you found out what you had with Cole Van Lanen, to the point where Cole Van Lanen got an extension and is certainly going to be a starter on opening day in 2026. You found out 7th-round pick Jonah Monheim could hold his own in there for the injured Robert Hainsey. You found out that Wyatt Milam, once he was able to play after coming back from injury in the last month and a half of the year, you probably have something in the 3rd rounder from West Virginia. And Chuma Edoga. I know there were some ups and downs for Chuma Edoga, but by and large, I thought he was all right for a majority of the year. Now, I just rattled off 9 guys. 9 guys that I think you would probably be okay with if they had to play in 2026. And as James Gladstone pointed out in his season-ending press conference, all 9 of those offensive linemen are under contract. If the Jaguars want, they can bring all 9 of them back. Now, there's speculation about Patrick Mekari. There's speculation about Walker Little. Speculation about Chuma Edoga. Will those guys be traded, released, what have you? But as we sit here right now on February the 19th, I mean, just from a depth standpoint, a playing experience standpoint, one could argue that the Jaguar offensive line room is probably the most seasoned. They had 9 guys play significant snaps in 2026 along that offensive line, and all 9 guys could return. What will the starting lineup look like on opening day 2026? Well, we still got to figure that out. Is Cole Van Lanen your starting left tackle? Is Patrick Mekari your starting right guard? Could it be Walker Little? Could it be Wyatt Milam? Is there a competition between Robert Hainsey and Jonah Monheim? Ezra Cleveland on the left guard side, is that cemented right now? There's a lot to figure out on the offensive line, but you got 9 guys that played a lot last year. Again, some bad. It wasn't all good. But I think you would give the offensive line a passing grade. I wouldn't give them an A. Might not even give them a B. Maybe in the B-, C+ territory. Now, if you think you can upgrade that, well, then there's a conversation there. But it is nice knowing that all 9 guys that played a lot of snaps in 2025 are under contract in 2026. Quickly to the defensive line and the edge position. Well, you know, obviously 41 and 44. 41 and 44 locks. I guess the biggest question there is Trayvon Walker going to have a new contract by the time the season rolls around? You know what you got with he and Joshua Hines Allen. Now, after that, there's some questions, particularly on the interior. You just re-signed Matt Dickerson, so obviously he is in the fold. Devon Hamilton played very well last year. One would think Devon Hamilton will be in the conversation. The 2 young guys from last year, B.J. Green and Danny Strigow. There's no reason to think that B.J. Green and Danny Strigow won't be in the conversation on the 53-man roster. So if 41, 44, Dickerson, Hamilton, Strigow, and B.J. Green, that's essentially 6 spots right there already taken. Mason Smith? I don't know, right? Who knows? He was a healthy scratch towards the end of the year. Will that light a fire under him? I don't know. Eric Armstead, I think there's a question as to whether he's going to be here or not. There is significant salary savings against the cap if he's designate Eric Armstead as a post-June 1st cut. The problem there is defensive tackle may literally be your weakest position on the team. And are you going to take one of your starters from that position and release him to save money and make a weak position even weaker? Your free agents are all the veterans. DeJuan Smoot's a free agent. Austin Johnson's a free agent. I think Gardeck is technically considered a linebacker, but he played some edge. He's a free agent. You do get Jalen McLeod back, the 6th-round pick out of Auburn in 25 that you never saw in the regular season. As much as a strength depth-wise the offensive line is coming into the offseason, I think equally there are more questions with the defensive line than most positions. The Jaguars have 4 day 2 picks, 1 in the 2nd round, 3 in the 3rd round. I would be stunned if 1 or even 2 of those 4 day 2 picks are not used on the defensive line / edge. I'd be floored. I think that is a position of need in the draft. Maybe a veteran in free agency. Defensive line is a need. Do you need necessarily to add to the O-line? not as much as you need to add to the D-line. So as far as the lines of scrimmage go, I'm okay with the offensive line if it stays as is. I'd be fascinated to see how some of those training camp battles would work out. But I do think there is, dare I say, considerable work to do on the defensive line, primarily the defensive interior this offseason. Again, scouting combine next week in Indianapolis. NFL draft April 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And, of course, sandwiched in the middle is NFL free agency, which begins 18 days from today. Let's talk about all of it with Gordon McGuinness of PFF, Pro Football Focus. He just recently put out a 3-round mock draft. We'll talk draft, we'll talk impending free agency, and we'll talk numbers, analytics with the folks of PFF. Gordon McGuinness joins me next on a Thursday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. And we're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
More Jaguars, more Gators, more sports talk for Jacksonville. 1010XL. When you want more.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Bro, have you heard about the hottest and newest sports league in town?
Vanguard Sports League isn't just VIP, it's the standard. Smoke-filled tunnel intros, cool benches with canopies, big scoreboards, championship rings, and convenient locations all across Jacksonville. Oh, and Mascot Potty's there hyping everyone up every game. No wonder it's the talk of the town. Spring and summer registration now open.
Search VanguardSportsLeague.com today.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 19, 2019, third baseman Manny Machado signed a 10-year, $300 million contract with the Padres, the largest free agent contract in American sports history.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Let's talk about the sound no homeowner wants to hear. Drip, drip, drip. Still dripping. That's exactly why Duck Duck Rooter created the Love Your Pipes promotion. Plumbing problems don't scare us. Not with years of experience and honest upfront pricing on our side. Right now, you can get free plumbing assessment on all fixtures with any paid plumbing service. It's the smart move to fix the issue now before it becomes bigger. So when you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
For nearly 60 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods at the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard has been Jacksonville's trusted name for the outdoors. From archery to hunting and fishing and more, their expert staff helps you get it right the first time. Right now, stop in and try the newest bows by Hoyt and Matthews and get dialed in before spring. Gear up today at greenacresporting.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
Instant Keys is turning 25. A quarter century of saving the day when your keys mysteriously vanish.
Seriously, it was just in my pocket.
Or when that remote fob decides to quit working.
The dealership is such a hassle.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, house keys, transponders, re-keys, and even high-tech smart locks. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you for honest, professional locksmith service. Use Instant Keys.
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. NFL Scouting Combine next week in Indianapolis. We are inside of 3 weeks away from NFL free agency. And then, of course, the NFL Draft, April 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Pittsburgh. Let's talk about the Jaguars and their offseason blueprint. Gordon McGinnis of PFF is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Gordon, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, Gordon, thank you for the time. All right, you and I haven't spoke since the end of the year, obviously, and I'm just curious your thoughts on Liam Cohen and the job he did here in year number one, taking a 4-win team, obviously, to a 13-win team and winning a division championship. It did not end the way Jaguar fans certainly hoped it would have ended, losing on Wild Card Weekend. But what was your thought on the 2025 campaign here with the Jaguars?
I thought it was a really good year, and I thought, in particular, you saw the development as the season went on, right? Like the way the season began, I think Trevor Lawrence in particular started the season a little bit slowly. I was just writing up some of the players from our top 101 players in the NFL this year over at PFF, and I was digging into some Trevor Lawrence stats. And like week 13 through the end of the season, he wound up being our highest graded quarterback in the NFL. And I think you really saw that the second half of the year, his comfortableness in the Liam Cohen offense really started to settle in. The moves they made at wide receiver through the season and different things like that. I think everything is set up for this to be a kind of launching pad season for the Jaguars, where they're able to take Trevor Lawrence to another level and hopefully continue to compete in the AFC.
You know, you mentioned those wide receivers. Obviously, there was a lot of Travis Hunter news last weekend about him playing primarily on defense. We'll get to there in a moment. But I think you saw that, Gordon, because of the emergence of Parker Washington, right? The arrival of Jacoby Myers, the emergence of Brenton Strange. And they did all that without Brian Thomas Jr. doing a whole lot, quite frankly, in year number two. What is your thought on the skill position surrounding Lawrence heading into 2026?
It looks really good, and I think the fact that, if you'd taken the scenario, if you'd said back in May that we're going to start the 2026 off season, not knowing how good a contributor for the season Brian Thomas Jr. might be given his struggles last year, and how little Travis Hunter might play at wide receiver, how good is the skill? How good in particular is the wide receiver spot going to look for the Jaguars? You would have been kind of dubious on that. But Jacoby Myers coming in with incredibly good hands, very rarely drops passes. Parker Washington being able to make an impact both on offense and on special teams. You're now in a situation whereby if Brian Thomas Jr. can get back to the level we saw from him as a rookie, it's a huge bonus to the offense and allows it to go to another level. But even if he is more of the level he was this past season, you still feel good about the skill position players that they have around Trevor Lawrence to be able to make enough plays to win a lot of football games.
Gordon McGuinness of Pro Football Focus here with us, PFF on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, Gordon, defensively, and I guess this all starts with Anthony Campanile coming back. The Jaguars almost lost both coordinators. Camp was a finalist in Arizona. Udinski appeared to be a finalist in Cleveland. There was some talk about him in Buffalo. Yet Liam Cohen gets both his coordinators back, including Campanile, who kind of revolutionized the Jaguar defense last year. How big is that for the Jaguars to get both of those coordinators back with Liam for year number 2?
It's huge, yeah, because that continuity for being able to continue things forward, on offense is one thing, but with how much input Liam Cohen obviously has on the offense, there's less importance there. Not having to worry about a change on the defensive side of the ball and potentially the scheme change and different things like that. It's just a huge boost. We've seen, various teams in the AFC. You saw the Baltimore Ravens a couple of years ago lose Mike McDonald and, not be able to get that same level of defense back. So being able to have that continuity on the defensive side of the ball, I think, is going to be big for them this season.
You look at the Jaguars defensively coming into the offseason. Free agency is approaching for Monteric Brown and Greg Newsome, which obviously leads to Travis Hunter being primarily a defensive back in 2026. What is your thought on the whole Travis Hunter situation? Do you agree with what the Jaguars reportedly are going to do, primarily defense and a sprinkling in of offense?
I think with the makeup of the roster right now, it does make a lot of sense, right? And this is a guy who, as a receiver last year, the irony was his best game was right before he went out with that season-ending injury. You saw him improve from a couple of drops early in the year to kind of tidy that up. But with the emergence of Parker Washington, with Jacoby Myers coming in there, there's just less need for him to be a top wide receiver in this offense. The flip side is that his skill set lends itself, I think, very well to being an excellent cornerback. In the limited sample we saw last year, what was very apparent is he's really good at finding the football when it comes for looking for pass breakups and stuff like that. So just the makeup of the roster, where his skill set is, I think it does make sense. I hope and I assume they will continue to have some kind of sprinkling in there, because we know from what we saw, he's a guy who can win in the slot. He's a guy who can make people miss if you get him some screen passes and different things like that. So hopefully we do see at least some of them on offense in 2026.
Couple of more for Gordon McGuinness of PFF. The Jaguars don't have a first-round pick because of the Hunter trade. But before we even get to this year's draft class, Travis Hunter only played 7 games last year. Caleb Ransaw, the third-round pick, didn't play any regular season games due to injury. And Wyatt Milam, the other third-round pick, played sparingly towards the end because of injury in the preseason. So despite not having a first-round pick, Gordon, you're still going to get Hunter, Ransaw, and Milam back. And even if you want to throw in Jalen McLeod, the 6th-round selection, I imagine a lot of those guys in the 2025 Jaguar rookie class have a lot to prove.
Absolutely. And I think the funny thing about, the big discussion point around the Travis Hunter trade was whether or not it was worth giving up a 2026 first-round draft pick to make that small move up in the first round to go and get Travis Hunter. I think knowing what we know now and with the benefit of hindsight, where the Jaguars are picking in the first round, and this not being the deepest draft in the world, it probably wasn't as much as it initially seemed for the Jaguars to give up. So last year's draft class, I think if you looked at it from the outset and said you were going to lose kind of 2.5 seasons to injured reserve right away, they probably still wound up getting enough production out of that draft class, like taking that into consideration. I think you saw Bashal Tutin have a nice season that we saw some flashes from. I think Jonah Monheim flashed enough in his 2 starts that you think there's someone who potentially develops into a starter there. So I think there's enough to be excited about, and I think you're right. I think they will get a boost from 3, maybe even 4 of these players, hopefully coming into the season fully healthy, to give them some of that kind of injection of youth on both sides of the ball.
You mentioned Tutin. One of the big questions here is Travis Etienne, his impending free agency. What's your thought there? Did you see enough out of Tutin to make him running back 1? Do you think Etienne should be looked at to re-sign here by the Jaguars? What's your thought on that situation?
Yeah, I think, as I said there, I think there were some nice flashes from Tutin. Yeah, he forced 19 missed tackles on 87 carries. and a good amount of his yards per carry came after contact. The big question is just like how much of a workload he can handle on his own. But he did have one game where he got 15 carries and had produced almost 80 yards on the ground, had 3 runs of 10 plus yards in that game. If they decide that the value is not there in re-signing Travis Etienne, then this is a draft class where I think in the 3rd and 4th rounds you can find another running back who can potentially complement Tootin there. So I do think there is probably enough similarity between Etienne and Tootin as players that you maybe, if you're the Jaguars, think that it's not worth spending a good chunk of money to bring Etienne back. And they will have some options both in free agency and the draft if that's what they want to do. If they want to then go and try and get a bigger back to be more of a complement to Tootin.
I know you've put some mock drafts out on PFF for this year's draft class. Let's go there next. And for Jacksonville, no first-round pick, but they do have 4 day 2 selections, 1 pick in round number 2 and 3 picks in round number 3. And Gordon, I'm kind of fresh into this draft as far as learning about the prospects, but one thing I've gathered pretty quick from people that I've talked to is day 2 is not a terrible spot to be in this year's particular draft class.
It's very much not, and I think this draft is really shallow at the top. You've got a smaller number of blue chip players, and then I think once you get to around the 15, 16 range, the difference between that player and the player you're going to get at 55, 60 is not drastically different. Like, it's not the same difference that you think based on the number of picks that there is between those. So the Jaguars, I think, are in a pretty good spot despite the fact that they don't have a first-round pick.
As we begin to wrap up, you look at the Jaguar free agents from Monteric Brown, Greg Newsome, Andrew Wingard, Dennis Gardeck, obviously Devin Lloyd, a lot of free agents on the defensive side of the ball. That would lead you to believe of the 11 draft picks, Gordon, the Jaguars will be pretty heavy defensively in this draft. How would you assess the defensive class as a whole this year?
I think there is enough talent there. There is not a huge number of top blue chip players, but there are enough players there who I think can develop. From when the Jaguars come on the clock with the 56th pick overall, there is enough there that they can find players who can be impact players that can boost. They already have a good edge defender room, but provide a boost there. They can get guys who can be an impact on the defensive interior. If they do move on from Devin Lloyd, and I think Devin Lloyd's developed tremendously in his time in Jacksonville, so that would be a big loss. But there are linebackers that you can get on day 2 in this draft class who I think it could make a big impact. We're going to see Sonny Styles from Ohio State come off the board very early in this draft. Arvell Reese, if teams view him as an off-ball linebacker, will be similar. But when you get into the 2nd and 3rd rounds of this draft, there are still linebackers who I think can make an impact. You have Deontay Lawson from Alabama, you have Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech, guys that will probably conceivably go in the 3rd round who could be players who become good starters in the NFL.
Do you think Devin Lloyd's worth $20 million a year?
It comes down to the positional value, I guess, at this point. And I think you see for defenses around the NFL, you saw for the Baltimore Ravens how important Roquan Smith was. And he was worth $20 million a year for them, despite the fact that he's kind of dropped off a little bit in the last season. I think Devin Lloyd, the way he's played the last couple of years, is someone who is one of the best 3 or 4 linebackers in the NFL. Is it the best allocation of cap spend when it's an off-ball linebacker in today's NFL? Maybe not. But we have also seen the league start to come back around a little bit more in the typical way the NFL does, where everything moves in a circle. We have seen things move back round, whereby if you have a linebacker who you can count to stop the run when you're in nickel, if you have a linebacker who you trust in coverage, then it's not that much of a stretch to be willing to pay them $20 million a year, I think.
Gordon, final question. You're based in the United Kingdom, and I'm just curious how big the Jaguars season was over there. Unfortunately, the one game the Jaguars played over there was their worst game of the year in their loss to the Rams. But during the Jaguars' division title run, playoff week leading into that Buffalo game, how big were the Jaguars over in the UK?
Yeah, they're continuing to grow. It's been really interesting to see obviously when the NFL started bringing games here, and the Jaguars are the team that they bring over the most, there is already established NFL fan bases throughout the country. But the Jaguars do continue to grow. Like, I have friends who, as their kids are getting into American football, they are becoming Jaguars fans because they're the team that are played here most often. So they hear them the most, and they see them the most, and different things like that.
It's a great thing, and certainly every time the Jaguars are over there, Wembley Stadium is absolutely packed, and the Jaguars will be over there again, obviously, this upcoming season. Gordon McGuinness of PFF. Gordon, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about some of the things you have coming out on PFF in the coming days.
Yeah, big week this week is our PFF 101, where we go through the top 101 players in the NFL, and there's certainly a few Jaguars players mentioned there, so it's definitely worth checking out.
Gordon, I know you're busy, man. Thank you, as always, for the time, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Great to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here, and I was telling the story earlier about playing soccer with a little hack out in the driveway. 2 years ago, that would not really have been a possibility. When I weighed well over 300 pounds, I was lethargic. I was tired. I didn't want to do that, right? I was losing out on those opportunities, man. It was awful. And I knew it, but I just didn't do anything about it until I learned about Awaken 180 weight loss. You eat the right food, you lose the weight, and obviously that's the main goal. But with that comes the lifestyle. The fact that I can play soccer with my 6-year-old now. The fact that I enjoy outdoor activities again. The fact that I don't mind getting my picture taken with the family. I used to hate that when I looked the way I did 2 years ago. Not anymore. Awaken 180 weight loss helped me drop the weight and, quite frankly, helped me change my life. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. If it's time for you to drop the weight, do what I did and get hooked up with Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
And that concludes the Joe C. Jack of All Trades show. Tune in next week, where I'll be installing my own French drain.
Joe, wake up, man.
Hey, John, I must have dozed off.
We finished those projects you started.
Whoa, my seamless gutters are actually seamless.
And they're connected into underground PVC drain lines.
And my sprinklers. Wow, look at that coverage.
Next time, just call me first, Joe.
I will, but I ain't singing that song.
Clearwater irrigation
and drainage too.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at Jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional, and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Fine Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
Hey, Jacksonville, David Garrard here. If you want a street-legal golf cart that's built with quality and style, check out Dynamic Drives and Designs in Jacks Beach. They have new, used, and fully customized carts from the top brands like Atlas, Dodge, and Pilot Car. Every cart gets a complete expert inspection, so you know it's ready to hit the road. Their team can help you design the perfect custom cart that fits your style and needs. For your custom golf cart, visit dynamicdrivesdesign.com today and see your perfect ride.
This is Victor Patel, CEO of North Florida Medical Center. Have you been in an auto accident? Are you feeling pain or stiffness? Our board-certified team has over 15 years' experience helping patients recover through chiropractic care, physical therapy, pain management, primary care, and neurology. Even minor injuries can cause long-term problems if left untreated. Schedule your free consultation today at nfmcjacks.com. North Florida Medical Center, bringing the care back to healthcare.
It's Cancer Prevention Month, and Ackerman Urology reminds you to stay ahead of prostate, bladder, and kidney health. Get a yearly checkup, ask about a screening, and make self-checks a habit. To make an appointment at one of 4 locations, visit ackermanurology.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Till 10 o'clock. Glad you're with us. 1010XL 92.5 FM. More on the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. My buddy Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar joins us towards the bottom of that 9 o'clock hour. All right, news around the National Football League as we are 1 week away from the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. We are 18 days away from NFL free agency. Speaking of Indianapolis, that is in the state of Indiana. Could the Chicago Bears soon be playing in the state of Indiana? The word inevitable seems to be trickling around today when that topic is being brought up. Hammond, Indiana, which I believe is northwest Indiana, is offering the Chicago Bears a terrific deal to build a brand new stadium. Now, let's not jump to conclusions. From my vast knowledge of Googling the topic, Hammond, Indiana is roughly 25, 30 miles away from downtown Chicago. It's not like the Chicago Bears would be moving a considerable distance. And I assume they would still be called the Chicago Bears, being 25 or 30 minutes outside of downtown Chicago. But they would, however, be in a different state. They would be in Indiana, not Illinois. I don't know how that would work. But Aaron, I mean, if you're the city of Chicago, I mean, this is Chicago, right? The Windy City. It's one of the few big cities that I have yet to be at. It's on the bucket list. I've been to New York, I've been to Boston, I've been to Baltimore, Philadelphia, Nashville, Las Vegas. I've hit quite a few of them. Miami, New Orleans, Houston. I've never been to Chicago. Certainly I will, hopefully sooner rather than later. And I realize, again, only 30 miles from Chicago to Hammond, Indiana, so it's not maybe as big a deal as some are making it out to be. But what was your thought when you saw the Bears might be leaving downtown Chicago for the friendlier confines of Hammond, Indiana?
Feels weird, doesn't it? Going not having Soldier Field there anymore, and I can't imagine our very own Taylor Dahl would be happy about that.
Well, Soldier Field, I mean, they've done some work there. They've done some renovations. It's the smallest stadium in the league. It only holds like 60,000 people, maybe even less than that. It's, from what I've been told, not in a very good location as far as parking. You can't do very much with suites and stuff in there because it is so old, despite the renovations. I mean, things need to be done there. But if you're the city of Chicago, how do you not come up with a plan after all this time to build a brand new stadium somewhere in the Chicago area? Again, Hammond, Indiana has stepped up to the plate, and it seems like that may happen. Again, 30 miles outside of Chicago. But one thing to keep in mind, I mean, that would essentially be like the Jaguars playing in St. Augustine. You know, some people don't realize this. Maybe some do, but I was kind of surprised when I went up there. When you think of the New England Patriots, you think of Boston, right? Well, actually, they're in Foxborough, and Foxborough is, like 35 minutes away from downtown Boston. Most people take the train from Boston to get out to Foxborough to go to the games. So even though you think of Boston, that's not where the Patriots play, and a lot of teams are in similar situations. It would be odd, though, to have the Chicago Bears not playing in Chicago, to be playing 30 miles outside of Chicago, reportedly in Hammond, Indiana. We will ultimately see what happens. Good news for the Philadelphia Eagles today, as All-Pro right tackle Lane Johnson announced that he is going to return for the 2026 season. Lane Johnson was the one guy in that 2013 draft that was any good. Eric Fisher, remember Luke Jokel? Was it Deion Jordan was in that draft? Yikes. Those were three of your top five, I want to say. Lane Johnson turned out to clearly be the best one of the bunch. He might find himself in Canton, Ohio one day at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but not in the near future, as he announces he's planning on returning for another season in 2026. Other news around the National Football League. The Kansas City Chiefs, as of like Monday, were $54 million over the cap, something ridiculous like that. Well, they've restructured Patrick Mahomes' deal. They've converted money into a signing bonus, and they've finagled with it, the wording, and that has given them almost like $36 million in cap relief. There is also a thought in Kansas City that former Jacksonville Jaguar, current Chief Jawan Taylor, may soon be on the way out. The Chiefs would also save a considerable amount of money against the cap if they were to release Jawan Taylor, but restructuring Mahomes' deal certainly did a lot to help Kansas City and their cap situation. And again, big news in Cleveland. Now, we saw David Njoku do this earlier this offseason. The Browns tight end took to social media after 9 years in Cleveland to basically thank the fans and say that his time in Cleveland was over. He was going to be leaving in free agency. Well, Pro Bowl offensive lineman Wyatt Teller has now done the same thing. Wyatt Teller took to social media yesterday to thank the fans in Cleveland for the last, I want to say, 6 or 7 years. So it appears the Browns are in a full-blown rebuild. Njoku, Wyatt Teller, two staples in that Browns offense for the last 7, 8, 9 years, both seemingly done in Cleveland, and both will be signing in different with different organizations come next month when free agency does get underway. Again, more on the National Football League coming up later on in the 9 o'clock hour. Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar will join us here on Hacker After Dark. Coming up next, the NCAA Selection Committee and the media that covers college basketball nationally, they did a mock field of 68 earlier today. If they were putting the bracket together today, what would it look like? The results are in. We'll tell you where they had Florida, and we'll talk a little college hoops next on a Thursday night here in the city of Jacksonville on Hacker After Dark.
When you listen to radio play-by-play, you don't just hear the game, you feel it.
They feel good. That feel good.
Get the most play-by-play on 1010XL, Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Rick Ballou here with a congratulations for John's Auto. They've been in business in Jacksonville for 40 years. That's right, going all the way back to 1985. Right now, they'd like to thank each and every one of you who's ever gotten their vehicle serviced at John's Auto. So, car, truck, or diesel, all makes, all models, whether it's a routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul, go to John's Auto on Arlington Road, johnautomotivejacks.com.
Patrick Young here, a.k.a. the Big PY, and you know I love my Florida Gators. Now you can hear my Gator basketball instant reaction following each Gator Hoops game. Look for my takes on the social channels of 1010XL. Brought to you by VanguardSportsLeagues.com.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron, totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens, also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings, and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-718-4040. That's 800-718-4040. 800-718-4040.
Bob Hayes was once considered the world's fastest human. He was an Olympic gold medalist who would then have an 11-year Hall of Fame career as a wide receiver. For a time, he held the world record for the 70-yard dash and is tied for the world's second fastest time in the 60-yard dash. Bullet Bob is the only athlete to win an Olympic gold medal as well as a Super Bowl ring. And he's the second Olympic gold medalist to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm RJ Saunders, and this Black History Month profile is brought to you by Instant Keys, fast professional locksmith service.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Help your loved one fall back in love with his or her home with a home improvement from the professionals at the Lifetime Family.
That's right, Nick. Happy Valentine's Day to all the lovebirds out there. What says I love you more than adding additional space with a glass or screen enclosure that will enhance your home's livability, or brand new floors that dramatically improve the look and feel of your home?
That's right. New outdoor living space from Lifetime Enclosures and beautiful floors from Lifetime Flooring.
Come experience the Lifetime difference. Call or visit one of our showrooms today for our Valentine's Day specials throughout February.
Lifetime Enclosures. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Packer After Dark on 1010XL.
So last night in the world of college basketball, we had maybe the game of the year. Maybe the game of the year. Not the game of the year in the SEC, but literally the game of the year between Alabama and Arkansas and the entire country. A double overtime thriller, and I do mean thriller, where Alabama outlasted Arkansas 117-115. Arkansas actually had 2 chances to tie it, to send it to a third overtime, including an offensive rebound, attempted putback slam that hit off the back rim. Crazy finish. Alabama won the game. You know, Aaron, I know they're never going to change the rule, but watching the game last night, and I've said this for a while, I hate when it comes down to things like this. So Arkansas has basically a 7-man rotation. They have their 5 starters and 2 bench guys. It's a pretty short team as far as depth. Florida goes 8 deep, and I still think that's pretty short. Arkansas, 1 fewer than that. They have 7 main guys. But you play 50 minutes of basketball in double overtime. 4 of Arkansas's 7 guys fouled out. When a game goes into overtime or double overtime, boy, don't you wish maybe you added a foul, you know, and 6 would get you out instead of 5? Or maybe if you have 5, you can come back in for the overtime period. I don't know. It's just I see that last night. And when you have 4 guys foul out, well, you have 5 fouls in 40 minutes. Well, what happens if the game is 50 or 55 minutes, as in a double or even a triple overtime? So Arkansas played 2 guys last night that, like, never play. One of the guys that was on the court, I think it's actually the guy that missed the dunk that would have tied it to send it to triple overtime, had played 15 minutes the entire year because they were just obliterated by their guys getting thrown out of the game for fouls. But nevertheless, the win actually helps Florida. The Alabama win helps Florida. Now Alabama 9-4, Arkansas 9-4 in the conference, 2 games back of the Gators. The Gators 2 games clear of the field for the regular season SEC championship, if you're so inclined. Does a regular season conference title in college basketball mean very much? I don't know. But it's something, right? I mean, you rather win it than not, I guess, if those are your 2 options. So Florida has a 2-game lead with 5 to go. And we're going to talk to Bill Bender of the Sporting News about the Gator Hoops forecast and a little bracketology coming up here in a moment. Speaking of bracketology, I mentioned this earlier. So a lot of the national college basketball writers today, along with members of the NCAA selection committee, did what I would call a mock Selection Sunday today. If Selection Sunday were to be held today, based on all the data that they have, how would the field be seated? And it was interesting because we got to see what the committee thinks of Florida. Florida right now 20-6, 11-2 in conference play. Aaron, have you seen the results from this that got released about an hour ago?
I didn't.
All right, so knowing that Florida is 20-6 and knowing that they are 11-2, that's all the committee's going on in this mock setup is what's happened. They obviously don't take anything into account that is going to happen. Where do you think they had Florida seated?
3rd.
You're right on. They were the 3 seed in the South region. They were number 10 overall, which that's about right. They're 12 in the AP. The committee had them as the 10th overall team out of 68. And if this were to come to fruition, again, it was a mock deal, but it's interesting nonetheless, they would be in Tampa for the first 2 rounds. As the 3 seed, they would take on the 14 seed Portland State in the round of 64. And in the round of 32, they would get the winner of Texas Tech, the 6 seed, and the 11 seed, which is either Missouri or Santa Clara. Missouri or Santa Clara would be one of the first 4 in Dayton. The winner of that game would get Texas Tech, and that would be in the Gator pod in Tampa, according to this mock. And what's interesting there, of course, is Texas Tech was the Gator opponent in the Elite 8 last year. Texas Tech was the team that was up 9 on the Gators with 2 minutes and 51 seconds to go before Florida decided they just weren't going to miss a three-pointer the rest of the game and drilled 4 threes in the final 250 to come back and win that game. That'd be a hard second-round game, but keep in mind Texas Tech did just lose their All-American top into an ACL tear a couple days ago. But I found it interesting that Florida in this mock by the committee and the national media, 3 seed in the South, second round games would be in Tampa, Portland State in round 1, and then likely Texas Tech or Missouri or Santa Clara in round number 2. If you want to get a little deeper, in round 3, the Sweet 16, the 2 seed would be Illinois. The number 1 seed in the South, and Florida would see this team in the Elite 8, potentially, would be Houston.
Oof.
Who, of course, Florida beat for the national championship last year.
And you know they want their get back.
That's the thing. I do hope the committee gives Florida a benefit of the doubt. I would really, if you're the Gators, not want to see UConn, Texas Tech, or Houston. Because one could argue UConn, Texas Tech, and Houston all feel they should have beaten Florida last year, and they would be seeing venom in their eyes if they got a chance at the Gators in this year's NCAA tournament. You're a UConn fan. I'm sure you would love that opportunity.
Yeah, I would, but I'd also like for them to look good at home against a Cretan team that, really in all actuality should not have any business beating them the way that they did last night.
That's a bad loss for UConn.
They just did not look good. Turnovers, missing wide open shots. They're just bad all around.
Slowly, UConn, Arizona, starting to come back to the field a little bit. Arizona's still very good, but they've lost a couple of games in the last couple of weeks. We saw UConn lose last night. You want to play your best basketball this time of year. Florida's doing that. Some of these teams above them are not doing it. We'll ultimately see what happens. But let's talk about all of it. Let's talk Gator hoops. Let's talk bracketology. And let's even talk a little bit about John Sumrall and the Gator football program. My buddy Bill Bender of the Sporting News joins us next on a Thursday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us till 10 o'clock right here on Hacker After Dark.
What is this?
Jacksonville Sports Radio.
We have hope. Rebellions are built on hope.
With the power to save the planet. Or at least sports radio in Jacksonville.
They are requesting a call sign. It's
1010XL.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here from the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, blackened redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, their regular menu where you get crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30, San Jose, and of course, Jewington Creek Road.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. If you miss an interview, it'll be waiting for you on demand.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Search where you find podcasts. And at 1010XL.com. Trained by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
I'm starting to realize being a homeowner isn't all upside, Jason.
I mean, it does give you a place to live.
Yeah, but now suddenly I need to know the names of all the people I need to look after my house.
Like who?
Like if my air conditioner breaks in the middle of the heat wave, I need to know who I call to fix it.
That's me. You know me.
But what if my water heater dies or my toilet backs up?
That would also be me. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
Okay, fine, but what about my duct cleaning and my water filtration and my sewer drain? Where am I going to find all those guys if something goes wrong? I'm just a guy with a house and a dream and...
This pair of sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing is the only name you need to know. Our club members even get 2 free visits a year, so you know we're there when you need us.
Well, that's cool.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Do you love cold weather? Tobacco Code doesn't either, and we are heating things up with a fantastic event featuring Perdomo cigars. Escape the chill on Saturday, February 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. and enjoy a Nicaraguan cigar celebration. Food, drinks, and specials on cigars. Experience Perdomo quality and value for yourself. Tobacco Cove at 3849 Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
Create a backyard your family will love. Jack's Outdoor Solutions, an authorized dealer of Celebrity Greens, installs PGA quality artificial turf golf greens and complete outdoor spaces. From turf to custom hardscapes, landscaping, and lighting, every project is built for style, durability, and family fun. Locally owned and trusted across Northeast Florida, customers rave about their results. Check their 5-star reviews on Google. Plan your dream backyard today at jacksoutdoorsolutions.com.
Bro, have you heard about the hottest and newest sports league in town?
Vanguard Sports League isn't just VIP, it's the standard. Smoke-filled tunnel intros, cool benches with canopies, big scoreboards, championship rings, and convenient locations all across Jacksonville. Oh, and mascot potties there hyping everyone up every game. No wonder it's the talk of the town. Spring and summer registration now open.
Search VanguardSportsLeague.com today.
For nearly 60 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods at the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard has been Jacksonville's trusted name for the outdoors. From archery to hunting and fishing and more, their expert staff helps you get it right the first time. Right now, stop in and try the newest bows by Hoyt and Matthews and get dialed in before spring. Gear up today at greenacresporting.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. We are entering the late stages of February. All eyes begin pointing to March Madness, and boy, the Florida Gators are one of the hottest teams in America. The defending national champions have won 15 of their last 17. They are 11-2 in SEC play, and I'm not sure how many teams in the country are currently playing better than Todd Golden and the Gators. Let's talk about it with a man that does bracketology this time of year over on the Sporting News and numerous other outlets. Bill Bender, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Bill, how we doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Hey, Bill, we're good. Thank you, as always, for the time. And, boy, you were one of the first to the curve on this one with Florida. I know of all the bracketologists out there, you've been high on the Gators for the last couple of weeks. And, boy, that's shining through more and more with Todd Golden and what they're doing. 15 out of 17. And, Bill, again, I'm not sure how many teams in the country are playing better than Florida is right now.
Yeah, and they're in, the SEC is an interesting conference to read from basketball. Obviously, a lot of the marquee matchups have come out of the Big Ten and Big 12, but this is a very good Florida team that's starting to punch through in the SEC. And I like how they've been. Like you said, they've played very well the last 3 weeks. I mean, they've kind of stood out in that crowd where, and we definitely – I know we have a tendency to overlook at, quad 1 victories, quad 2 victories, those type things. But Florida's right there in those departments. They are what is their 8-5 in quad 1? That's not a bad mark. I mean, so, you start to pile up those quad 1 victories, the committee takes notice.
I mean, look, Todd Golden in Florida coming off a national championship last year, having to replace all 4 guards in the backcourt from last season. And the season started out 5-4, and they're losing just gut wrenchers, Bill. I mean, to Duke and UConn and Arizona. And then they even lose a gut wrencher to Missouri to begin conference play. They're 9-5. And at that point, you think, all right, well, maybe it's just not their year. And now they've won 11 out of 12. What does it say to Golden and his staff that they were able to right this ship?
I mean, steady, good front line that they can count on. When you lose a guy like Clayton, obviously, we profiled him ahead of the NCAA tournament last year, carried tournament run. So, they've got a good front line. They've got experience on the roster. And sometimes when you're coming off a national championship season, that happens. You're going to have some bumps the next year. But yeah, I think they have got it figured out at the right time. The chance for them, they could punch up to maybe a number 2 line. I think it's going to be tough to get up to that number 1 line just because you have Michigan, who's probably penciled in as 1. The Big 12 champ probably penciled in as 1. And then obviously Duke and maybe even UConn, though UConn lost to Creighton. But I still think Florida's got a chance to move up a couple lines. And the SEC, as you know, Ryan, that these guys, you can't really take a night off. Watch that Alabama-Arkansas game last night. Like, there's high-level teams that might not be top 5 teams, but there's a lot of good teams in the conference.
Well, and to that point, again, Bill Bender of the Sporting News here with us. To that point, I mean, last year, Bill, the SEC was historic in how good they were in the regular season. They get 6 teams into the Sweet 16, 2 into the Final Four, and obviously Florida winning the title. Clearly, the SEC is not what it is this year, as good as it was last year. But having said that, it's still a very deep league that's probably going to get 9, 10, maybe even 11 teams in the big dance.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, you take it down to like Texas and Georgia. Georgia looking pretty good. Texas has moved up. Missouri's the bubble team. You mentioned that. They may have to cash in that victory against Florida later. And then, schools like Tennessee and Kentucky have pretty much identical resumes at this point. Kentucky's playing better, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to have a lot of SEC teams in this tournament. I know that a lot of the focus is on the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten has right now the best team, Michigan, and then a couple of teams that are definitely capable making a deep run in Illinois, Michigan State, and Purdue. But, yeah. And once you get them all in the tournament, as you know, anything can happen, and it typically does.
As far as Todd Golden goes, Bill, I mean, you got to go back to, I believe, Jim Valvano and Bobby Knight to find the last 2 guys that won national titles before the age of 40. So he's already in rarefied air. What does it say to Golden that he already has that resume and he has another team that's poised to make a deep, deep run? I mean, just speak to the job that he's done in a very short time there in Gainesville.
I think he has a style of basketball that college kids like to play. They're going out and scoring points. And, that's been happening over this nice winning streak that they've got. And, that appeals. Andy's a young guy. I mean, Bob Knight and Todd Golden, that's not normally in the same sentence, right? In terms of style of play and maybe sideline demeanor and those kind of things. But, maybe a cross between Knight and Valvano. So absolutely. Back-to-back seasons, I think he's got this program in a good spot where last year wasn't a fluke, and they're going to be in the mix as one of those SEC contenders every year. And you're going to have nights that are, you'll have some ups and downs. I mean, obviously, they do remind me a little bit of Alabama. It's like Alabama, even when they have dips, they as long as Nate Oates is there, they're going to be competitive and score a lot of points. Which they did, like I said, they did last night in that Arkansas game.
Maybe the game of the year between Alabama and Arkansas last night. It was absolutely incredible. Bill, I want to end with a college football thought from you and certainly talk about your bracketology. But the idea about Tampa hosting the first and second round games of the NCAA tournament, I mean, Florida's almost a lock for that, right? If they're a top 4 seed in any of the regions, odds are the committee will put them in Tampa, which basically means a home game for Florida in the round of 64 and the round of 32.
Yeah, that's probably where they would end up if they're anywhere between especially if they can crawl up to the 2 line. And, they typically take care of teams on that. I do think, and I've said this on multiple shows, that we are in for what could be one of the most exciting tournaments ever, because and I'm going to say this too, I think it could be more exciting than the college football playoff, because I could count 12 to 15 teams that I could say, yeah, they could win it. And that doesn't happen often, even in the NCAA tournament. You have a handful of teams that you can think you think can win it. But I could go all the way down to like St. John's, Alabama. We just talked about them. They could get hot. Florida could win it. Any one of those Big 10 or Big 12 powerhouses. Maybe Texas Tech took a little hit with JT Toppin out. But you get what I'm saying. We're going to have a super exciting tournament. So it wouldn't hurt to be close to home, so you can try to get through that first weekend when a lot of the quote-unquote madness happens.
As I alluded to earlier, Bill Bender of the Sporting News, you were one of the first bracketology guys that had Florida on the 2 line. I think you had that a week or two ago. A lot more people are starting to come around to that line of thinking. Ultimately, is that where you think it winds up? Certainly, we don't know the future. There's 5 games to go in the regular season plus the SEC tournament. But barring anything ridiculous on either side, good or bad, if it stays the course, you think Florida's a 2 or a 3 heading into the big dance?
Probably. But, I mean, if you're talking about a path to a 1 seed, on this week's bracketology, I had Houston as a 1. Well, what if Houston loses to Arizona on Saturday? They just lost to Iowa State. Maybe is there a chance there's only one Big 12 1 seed? That's one possibility. UConn loses to Creighton. So, and Big East, they don't love the Ken Palm net rankings there. So let's say Florida just keeps on this tear. Could they push to a number 1 seed? It's not out of the question. You got to look at how many, if they won the SEC tournament and kept winning, it'd be hard to ignore that. They would at minimum be a high number 2. I know this is the rose-colored glasses version, and they'll probably stay at a number 2 or maybe even a number 3. But the path to a number 1 seed isn't ridiculous. We still got a lot of regular season basketball to play.
There's no doubt you do a terrific job covering college basketball, but I think people in these parts, when they hear the name Bill Bender, probably flock to the gridiron for your college football work there on the Sporting News. I haven't talked to you really since Summerall did what he did in the portal and retained Jaden Baugh and Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, Jaden Woods among them. What's your overall thought, a little over 2 months into John Summerall's tenure, about the job he's doing in Gainesville?
Well, I mean, the roster's secondary too. It's just you got through the portal, he got through the playoff, and he's getting to work there. And anybody that's followed John Summerall's work at Troy, at Tulane, knows he knows how to win. Knows he's no nonsense. Knows, like, when they hired him, it didn't maybe hit me as much as now that he's been there for a minute, that hey, he's going to do a good job there. He's going to get the most out of that roster. I know quarterback's going to be a question, but retaining some key players was huge. And as you know, you have to be able to work the portal. But I'm interested to see how he'll recruit, particularly in state. I thought the Miami Hurricanes had the kind of the mix for success in Florida between the recruiting, the in-state kids, and then how they use the portal. And if John Summerall can do that at Florida, I mean, they'll be right back in the mix. So I like John a lot. I think he'll do a nice job.
He's saying all the right things. He's doing all the right things. I mean, his introductory press conference, he joked around about Lane Kiffin. I thought he owned his introductory press conference. And if you're a Gator fan, I get being upset you didn't get Lane Kiffin. But I got to tell you, Bill, 2 months in, I'm not sure how you could be any more pleased with what Summerall has done. Will the results translate on the field? Well, that'll be a conversation for September. But I think he's done pretty much all he can do 2 months in to try to win some of these Gator fans over.
Yeah, and he is pretty good in the press conference, pretty good on the podcast appearances and those kind of things, and that's what you have to do. Now, granted, Ryan, I probably said the same thing to you when Billy Napier was hired. I probably parroted some of these same talking points, but I will say it does feel a little bit different with John Summerall, with that experience in the SEC, been around the state of Alabama, obviously, did a really good job at Tulane. And I just think that there's some things about Florida that needed like a kick in the butt, and he's not afraid to do that. So I think the personality is really shining through and will continue to do that. Now, What happens when they get on the field? Yeah, as you know, we talk about this every year. Florida is one of those places that expects to win and win big, and he'll need to do that. But I would say high marks for the start he's had so far.
Bill, final question. Trinidad Chambliss got an extra year of eligibility last week as a Mississippi state judge granted him that. Your overall thoughts on that, and what is that message to college athletics that you can go to court and win another year of eligibility?
Well, mixed feelings. I think I'm starting to become of the opinion that you should have 5 years in college. You don't have to redshirt. You get 5 years of eligibility, and then you're done. It's a little. I'm glad Trinidad Chambliss is in college football because he's a thrilling player, Heisman candidate. Yeah, Ole Miss will be good. I get to see him play against Lane Kiffin. All of those things. Should he be eligible? I mean, it's questionable. Especially, it doesn't look great when you have the judge that you have. So I think we're moving toward the NCAA's getting close to a tipping point where my solution would be just give kids 5 years of eligibility. They could play right away. And with the case of extreme medical hardships or those kind of things, they've got to stick to those 5 years, and then you've got to go pro. And I think that mitigates some of the, yes, they get to make it 5 years worth of NIL along the way, and that would solve a lot of these problems. But what do I know, Ryan? They're not going to. I doubt they take my solution.
Well, it'll be fascinating to see if that opens up a Pandora's box. I know, like, Joey Aguilar is another one that's trying to get more eligibility. We'll see if the Trinidad Chambliss decision has any impact on that or any other cases that come down the line. Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Bill, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville the coverage you have on bracketology, also your college football work, and where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm at Bill Bender 92, and it's sportingnews.com. And getting into it, man, it's a little bit of college football, a little bit of NFL combine, a little bit of college basketball over the next couple months. It's kind of my favorite time of year in some ways. So, yeah, it's always good talking to you. Thank you so much for having me on.
He's one of our favorites, Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Bill, I know you're busy. Thank you, brother, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, anytime. Thank you.
When you're making plays on the field, doesn't matter. Are you going to go out there, take hits, deliver the ball, and win ball games for it?
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
When you drive past a Kuhn Flowers location, did you know their inside showroom is filled with gift items? Kuhn Flowers isn't just for sending flowers. Frank Frangie here, and when I need a unique gift, I head for Kuhn Flowers, Beach Boulevard, and in Ponte Vedra since 1947. Kuhn Flowers.
Joe Coward, Matt Hayes, and Leon Searcy are serving up your daily dose of sports talk specials from scratch.
I didn't know you could.
XL Primetime is driven by Duval Ford.
These are delicious.
Noon to 2 weekdays on 1010XL.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hi, I'm Janice. I'm a coach at Awaken 180 Weight Loss. When a client reaches the goal that they've set, they are so proud of themselves. They are so thrilled with how they look and how they feel. They are ready to take on the next thing. And that's one thing about weight loss. It's so much more than a number on a scale. It's about self-respect. It's a momentum thing. Now that I've lost 50 pounds, wow, there's no reason why I can't do this next thing that initially seemed so daunting, but now I know I can do it. The celebration is not just how much better you look and feel, but how much more self-respect you have. We get on a track of success at Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Losing weight with Awaken 180 isn't about the number on the scale. It's about how that number spearheads endless success. Bring your goals to Awaken 180 Then celebrate when you check off each and every one of them. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
San Jose Collision in Mandarin is proud to be an iCar Gold Class collision repair facility. That means they meet the industry's highest training standards. Experience the difference at San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Jacksonville, you voted, and Baker Glass came out on top. The Bold City Best Awards are all about locals choosing their favorites, and you picked them for Best Auto Glass and Best Glass and Mirror Service.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focus, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
So I got to tell you how this game just ended at the UNF Arena. My alma mater has not had a very good basketball season. Austin Peay is one of the best teams in the Atlantic Sun. They were in town tonight to play UNF, and UNF gave them everything they wanted up until about the last, 5 seconds, I guess. So it's 75-75, all right? Austin Peay gets the ball in the corner, but they get trapped. They call a timeout. They have a freshman that calls a timeout with 1.9 seconds to go. But in very Chris Webber-esque fashion, Austin Peay does not have a timeout. That's a technical foul. So UNF goes to the line, 75-75, 1.9 seconds to go. Cameron Oriole, probably the best UNF player, 90% free throw shooter, misses the first, hits the front rim on the second, and it goes in. 76-75 UNF. Austin Peay's got to go 94 feet, 1.9 seconds to go. They launch a Hail Mary down to within 5 feet of their goal, and their big man catches it and lays it in with 0.6 to go. And then UNF can't do anything with it. It literally just happened in the last 90 seconds before we came back there. If you're Austin Peay, you Chris Webbered yourself. You called a timeout when you didn't have one. UNF misses the first technical, makes the second. 1.9 to go, you're up 1. And to have the presence of mind to still come back and be able to score to win 77-76, I guess it would be. What an outcome. What a game.
It's like each team in that final seconds gave the other a chance to win.
I mean, Heartbreak City for my alma mater, but man, we have seen some unbelievable college basketball between last night and tonight around the country. Let's get back into the National Football League. Let's talk combine. Let's talk free agency. And let's do that with Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. He joins us next right here on a Thursday night in Northeast Florida. You got it locked in till 10 o'clock on Hacker After Dark.
There's a certain romance to radio play-by-play.
We need you to be all strong and hot.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, blackened redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, their regular menu where you get crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30, San Jose, and of course, Julington Creek Road.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Daytona Supercross. Experience all the high-flying action and side-by-side intensity of Monster Energy AMA Supercross on the most demanding track of the circuit. The gate drops February 28th at the World Center of Racing. The high-flying, crowd-pleasing Daytona Supercross is a great event for the entire family. For a chance to win tickets to Daytona Supercross, answer this. Who designs the Daytona Supercross course? Text the designer's last name to 641-1010 now.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, company mascot at your service.
There are two important steps to installing the perfect garage floor. The two-stage coating application, sure, but nothing is more important than preparing the floor. Our team uses diamond grinding machines to grind your floors to a smooth, level finish. Only then can we...
Hold on! You grind garage floors with perfectly lovely diamonds?
No, Chester. We grind floors to perfection using the very best ugly diamonds. Too ugly for jewelry, but perfect for the grinding pads we use to prep the surface.
Perfect preparation and application. Now that's a perfect marriage.
Ugly diamonds?
Check. Perfect preparation?
Check. Smooth, gorgeous, gleaming floors that really catch your eye? Checkmate! Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate. Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
Spring is almost here. Is your yard ready? Lucas Tree Service, a family-owned business with over 45 years of experience, is your local certified arborist for tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for residential or commercial properties. Protect your home, boost your curb appeal, and get top-notch service from a Jacksonville company. Make sure your trees are healthy and safe before summer hits. Schedule your tree inspection today at lucastreeservice.com.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with Window World, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new Window World windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, Window World and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with Window World, and to top it off, Window World windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with Window World. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call Window World today and get your free in-home estimate, or see them online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
At Hollis Pools, building a pool is personal. We sit down with you, listen to your vision, and bring your backyard dreams to life right here in Northeast Florida. Working with us doesn't feel like working with a contractor. It feels like working with family. Every Hollis Pools project supports Project Savior Outdoors, helping bring hope to our veterans. Visit hollispools.com. Hollis Pools, your vision, your pool, your escape. License number CPC 1461233.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, there was a lot of Travis Hunter conversation this past weekend. Obviously, a lot's been made after the report came out that Hunter likely to be a primary defensive back with maybe a sprinkling in at wide receiver. Let's talk about Travis Hunter. Let's talk about the offseason that is to come. And crazy to think that the NFL scouting combine is next week up in Indianapolis. A man that loves the draft and follows the Jaguars and covers them very closely is my buddy Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar, and he's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Jordan, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to talk some Jags off-season football. It's always just kind of February after the Super Bowl until free agency. It's always just one of those times where there's all sorts of strange reports and people getting mad about nothing. And so it's a great time of year.
The last time you and I talked was basically right after the Buffalo game. So it's been about a month. You are on a website and run a website that is a big website with Jaguar fans, certainly. Has the game been flushed at this point? Is all eyes towards the offseason and this Jaguar fan base now?
I think it's taken some time still for people to shift gears and just digest what happened, because even though the game, it's been a while now, every single week of the postseason after that loss, you're like, the Jaguars should have won. The Jaguars would have won this week. They would have won this week. They could have won. They could have competed at a higher level than the Patriots did in the Super Bowl. So yeah, I think it still stinks for most people. I still think a lot of fans are kind of not quite ready to turn that page and think about free agency and the draft and retaining players and all that sort of stuff. But it's coming. It's less than a month away.
Yeah, the 24-hour rule in the NFL applies in the offseason as well. Like we said, the scouting combine next week, free agency now inside of 3 weeks away. Quickly, before we get to the offseason and we talk about Travis Hunter, you and I haven't spoke since Campanile and Udinski. Both were finalists for head coaching gigs, but ultimately both returned to Jacksonville for 2026. Jordan, how big is that for Liam Cohen coming into year number 2?
Yeah, huge for him, for the entire team. There's so many different layers and levels to it. Obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, if you lost Udinski, you still have a lot of the infrastructure in place. If you had lost Campanile on the defensive side of the ball, it's like, okay, where do we even begin? Do we need to find someone that's going to run the exact same type of scheme? Like, how do we do this? It would have been a difficult process to ensure that they would be moving in the right direction defensively heading into year 2, which Liam Cohen talked about in his staff meeting last week. Like, year 2, it's the year. It's the year for the Jaguars, according to this regime, this staff. But just when you look back at what has happened in year 2s after, obviously Doug Marrone got the Jaguars to the AFC title game. Doug Peterson got the Jaguars to the divisional round. Now Liam Cohen gets the Jaguars to a 13-4 record, and they make the playoffs. And you got to take a step forward in year 2. You can't have this regression, and they know that. And having Camp and Udinski back, while also bringing in a couple guys that the staff feels really good about, and Brian Picucci to help out with the offensive line and the run game, and then Matthew Arujo to help out with the pass game on defense. I think it's full steam ahead.
Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, with us here on Hacker After Dark. All right, this past weekend, there was a report from Cameron Wolfe of the NFL Network that the Jaguars will likely use Travis Hunter as a primary defensive back and sprinkle him in at wide receiver. That's not news, I don't think, Jordan, to anybody here. I mean, I want to say James Gladstone basically said as much at his season-ending press conference about a month ago. And when you look, the fact that Greg Newsome and Monteric Brown are free agents, you obviously already have the emergence of Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers' arrival, and Brian Thomas Jr. There's only one football to throw around last time I checked. To me, this is not shocking, but nationally it kind of blew up over the weekend. First and foremost, what was your reaction to the national perception of this?
Yeah, and that's not to even mention that Brenton Strange is basically a receiver on passing downs as well, right? So you have all those guys that you can get the ball to. The reaction to the national perception or to their reaction is not surprised. I'm just not surprised at all. So many of the people on Twitter and YouTube and everything, it's just so much of a fantasy lean. It's so much of a betting lean. It's like pretty nauseating and exhausting. And it's crazy that fantasy folks cannot actually think about real football. It just seems like they can't do it. And I don't want to put everybody into that basket, but it happens far too often. So yeah, people are saying, the Jaguars, they traded up for just to have a corner. Well, the report says he's still going to play offense. He's just going to be a full-time corner. And I think that that's great for the Jaguars based on not only where he's ready to be a superstar, which is at the cornerback position, but also, like you mentioned, their current roster construction. Like, they've got 4 guys that they can throw the football to, not to even mention the backs out of the backfield. Like Basil Tootin and LeQuint Allen can both have an impact on the passing game too. We've seen that. So, I mean, it's obvious that that's what they needed to do. As you mentioned, James Gladstone said that, over a month ago. So it's hilarious. Honestly, it's pretty laughable, the national reaction we're getting.
Yeah, I got into it with one of the fantasy guys on social media a little bit. And I like fantasy guys. I'm a fantasy football player myself, but a lot of the vitriol is the people that drafted Travis Hunter really high, and they're just upset that he's going to be a DB and then used sparingly, it looks like, at wide receiver. But let's take a look at that now moving forward for the Jaguar point of view. If Travis Hunter is going to be a primary defensive back, Jordan, in your opinion, what does that mean for the futures of Greg Newsome and Monteric Brown here in Jacksonville?
I've always believed that Greg Newsome, I shouldn't say always. I mean, when they first traded for him, obviously it felt like there would be a chance. But, for the last several months, it's not felt like it was a great fit. Greg Newsome played a lot more man coverage in Cleveland. And so it was a little bit of a projection asking him to come into a primarily zone defense. I don't think it worked out as well as anybody would have hoped. I expect him to hit free agency and probably be competing to start somewhere next year. I don't think it'll be Jacksonville. As far as Monteric Brown goes, I know Anthony Campanile would love to keep the guy. I feel confident that if your top 2 outside corners next year are Travis Hunter, Monteric Brown, while you have Jarian Jones and Jordan Lewis coming off the injury at nickel, that's a really good spot to be in. And so I think that they should prioritize bringing back Monteric Brown, maybe over anybody else on the entire roster that's set to hit free agency.
Now, let me ask you this. If Newsome leaves in free agency, and I would tend to agree with you, is that a miss by James Gladstone with the Tyson Campbell trade?
I still think that they made the decision that I think that they think about all possible outcomes. I think they think about most likely outcomes and all possible outcomes. I think that they knew there was a possibility that Greg Newsome would not be in Jacksonville in 2026. And they said as much right after the trade. James Gladstone did. To me, it was about they didn't think that Tyson Campbell was a CB1 worth paying $20 million per year. And that they would have a chance to maybe get a guy that they could move forward with, but ultimately have the freedom to build that room more in their image.
I want to ask you about Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne in a moment, but to even have the conversation about re-signing one or certainly both of those guys, the Jaguars are going to have to free up some room. Eric Armstead, Patrick Mekari. Those are 2 names that are starting to be discussed. You would save, I believe, something like 13 or 14 million against the cap if you designate them post June 1st cuts. Armstead, Macari, what's your thought there?
I think the Jaguars are in a window here where they should be aggressive to get better. I don't know how losing either of those guys helps you get better in 2026. I really don't, because like you're moving on from Eric Armstead and getting that cap relief post June 1. What is that really doing for you? I mean, it helps you sign your draft class, but it doesn't really help you push this thing forward into 2026. And they're in a window right now. I strongly believe that. And this might be the best opportunity right here in 2026, the best opportunity they have for the next few years because of even though they don't have a great looking cap right now, they do have cap flexibility. They have the ability to be very aggressive. The cap goes up every single year. I think the best teams know that and they utilize that. But there's a good chance you're not going to have Camp or Udinski back next year, right? So I think you don't sacrifice the future. You be smart about it, but I think you'd be very aggressive this offseason to go try to put together a championship football team and win the Super Bowl in 2026.
Final moments, Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Armstead, I agree. With Macari, I guess the interesting thing there is one could argue, right, at least there's a conversation, that Walker Little, when he played for Macari at right guard, was pretty good. Is that a competition in training camp if Macari is still here? Is he guaranteed to be a starter if he remains?
Yeah, I don't think anybody on the interior should be guaranteed to start next year, right? You have Anton Harrison. He's going to be a starter. You have Cole Van Lannon. You paid him. He's going to be a starter. On the interior, Ezra Cleveland's going to the final year of his deal. And then you have Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCary, who both you can get out and save a ton without even doing the post-June 1 designation following the 2026 season, right? So I think you have Jonah Monheim, who you brought in last year. I think you should add more talent in the draft at offensive line this year. You have Wyatt Milam. You have Walker Little, as you mentioned. Yeah, no, I think it should absolutely be a lot of competition. What they did last year, and Liam Cohen likes to bring it up that everybody was criticizing him around here, but get a lot of different looks with different groups and different combinations up there and see what seems like it's working the best, because they do seem very deep right now, and I agree there should be competition up front.
All right, Jordan, franchise tags can start being handed out around the National Football League. First and foremost, it would be shocking, correct, if either ETN or Lloyd were franchised?
Yeah, to me, franchise tag is a tool used by teams that don't want to spend money. The Jaguars, Shad Khan does not worry about spending the money. It's about actually being able to navigate the cap. And the franchise tag does not help you navigate the cap in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion. That entire tag, whatever the dollar amount is, for Devin Lloyd, I think it'd be like $28 million or something. It hits the cap, right? That does not help you navigate the cap, so it doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, it would be, I won't say shocking, because what's shocking as far as player, movement in the league anymore, but it would be pretty surprising if Devin Lloyd were back here in 2026, correct?
Yeah, I think so, especially considering there's a couple things. Devin Lloyd's price tag, he's probably going to be one of the top 3 or 4 most highest paid linebackers in football. You have the fact that Anthony Campanile is such a good defensive coordinator who is a linebacker background, who's done a really good job with linebackers as a defensive coordinator. You spent a 4th round pick on Jack Kaiser last year. You have Ventrell Miller. Obviously, you still have Foye Oluokun in the starting lineup. And then you have a number of free agents that will be a lot cheaper at the linebacker position, and a draft class at linebacker that is widely viewed as like the best linebacker class we've seen in a really long time. You add all those things together, it's just like, I don't know how it ends up making sense for Devin Lloyd back in Jacksonville unless they get a severe hometown discount, and I don't know why Devin Lloyd would do that.
We got to go quick because I want to end with ETN, but is Ventrell Miller the guy that gets the first look there if Lloyd leaves?
It just depends on what they do in free agency and the draft. If they go get a guy on day 2, they're going to let that guy compete. Absolutely. Free agency could be answer too, because you can get starting quality linebackers in free agency on the cheap, and there's going to be a bunch of them out there.
All right, Jordan, as we wrap up, ETN now, that to me is maybe the biggest question 3 weeks outside of free agency. First and foremost, let's just start at the top. Is Travis Etienne a Jaguar in 2026, in your opinion?
I want him to be. I really do. I lean towards no.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I mean, Bashal Tutin, obviously, but you're going to have to go out and get somebody to pair with him and LaQuinn Allen Jr. Is it a situation where if ETN leaves, and I would tend to agree with you, is it Rachaad White? Is it Tyler Algier? Somebody along those lines?
Yeah, I think so. I think Rachaad White makes so much sense because, it's fine to be like, well, Bashal Tutin and LaQuinn Allen are talented enough and we go get a rookie. But it's like, do you really want a running back room that's 2 second-year guys and a rookie? Like, you probably want some experience. So like you mentioned, Rachaad White makes sense. Tyler Algier would be more of that physical back, maybe a presence that they don't have as much right now. Javonte Williams is going to be out there. Rico Dowdle's going to be out there. I think all those guys could end up being significantly cheaper than Travis Etienne. And there's more backs than that, too, that could come in and help. But Rachaad White, that's a great call out. I mean, he's a very well-rounded back who has experience with Liam Cohen. So, yeah.
And you would get Rachaad White considerably cheaper, more than likely, than it would be with Travis Etienne. It's about to get very, very busy. Scouting Combine next week. We're inside of 3 weeks away from NFL free agency. Jordan, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about Generation Jaguar and the coverage you'll have in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's an interesting time of year, but obviously with the Combine coming up, we'll be taking a look at that heavily every single day, talking about the different results and what they mean and trying to parse that stuff out. And it's different right now because, in previous regimes, you had these 30 visits that you can kind of latch onto and kind of take a look at guys that the Jaguars are taking an extra look at. But this new regime doesn't want to do that. They don't want to give that information away. So you cover this thing a little bit differently with kind of like a broader net. And that's what we'll be doing. And then after the Combine ends, you're going to be right up there when you have like these new deals getting done, re-signings, free agency right around the corner. So it's going to heat up here quick.
Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. Jordan, thank you as always for the time. Let's circle back probably the week of free agency, and we'll see where some of this dust has settled with the Jaguars. Appreciate you, my friend.
Sounds good, Hacker. Appreciate you.
And thank you to Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as we looked ahead to the Scouting Combine next week. Certainly talked about Travis Hunter and the report this past weekend that he will be primarily a defensive back in 2026. As we talked about earlier, and we've really talked about it all week, it makes sense. I think a lot of us locally knew he was going to primarily be a defensive back. I mean, if you look at the impending free agency of Monteric Brown and Greg Newsome, with also the knowledge that Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers, and Brian Thomas Jr. and lump in Britton Strange are all under contract. Well, I mean, it makes sense that the wide receiver room, the tight end room, is certainly a lot more stocked right now than the defensive back room, at least as we're talking here on February 19th, right? Could that potentially change? Well, yeah, when free agency gets here in a couple of weeks. But for the here and now, certainly DB is much more of a need for Travis Hunter to play than it appears wide receiver is. So we certainly spent some time on that. Also spent some time on a little bracketology. We'll start doing a little bracketology every week here on Hacker After Dark, certainly focusing on Florida. The Gators now with a 2-game lead in the SEC for the regular season title after Alabama beat Arkansas in double overtime last night in what might be quite literally the game of the year nationally. It was an incredible ball game, and Florida sort of benefits from it because now Arkansas is 2 games back of the Gators. Florida with 5 to go in the regular season, which begins this Saturday with a road game at Ole Miss. But where will Florida be when all is said and done in the seeding process for the NCAA tournament? Again, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, or even a 4 seed would more than likely put them in Tampa for opening weekend, which means they would essentially have home games in the round of 64 and the round of 32. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM, and we have a ton of people to thank. Again, Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Always appreciate Jordan joining us here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Normally, we have Bill on to talk a little college football, and we did a little bit of that tonight, but Bill is bracketologist over with the Sporting News this time of year, so we spent a lot of time talking about Todd Golden and the Florida Gators, so thank you to Bill Bender. And back in hour number one, Gordon McGinnis of PFF, Pro Football Focus. Certainly appreciate Gordon taking time out for us to talk about this year's draft class, focusing on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Friday to close out the week here on Hacker After Dark, and we do hope you join us beginning at 8 o'clock. Aaron Williams was your producer tonight. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Thursday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night to close out the week on a Friday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
This is Jacksonville Sports.